So today I'm bringing guys a brand new sports cards video. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down what I believe to be the 5 best long-term investments that you can make right now in this current market. As you guys know, we've seen over the last couple of years, the market really cooled down, and now stuff is starting to pick up again. So there's a lot of opportunity, I believe, right now, of course, with Fanatics now in charge, with a lot of new people getting into the hobby, with card shows booming. I believe there's a lot of long-term upside in the sports card market, and I'm going to be breaking down, if I were to be investing for the long term, who I would go after. So without further ado, we are going to hop right into the video. So the first cards that we're going to be talking about, by the way, just before we get into the video, I'm going to say that I'm going to bring investment opportunities from all price points. So if you're looking at these first cards like, I can't afford that, don't worry, there's going to be more for you later in the video. But the first cards that I'm going to be breaking down are going to be Kobe Bryant autographs. Now, Kobe Bryant, of course, sadly passed in 2020. Obviously absolute tragedy. But the truth of the matter now is that, of course, he won't be ever signing cards again. So his cards long term are so coveted. Such a great collector's base because Kobe inspired so many people. And there's just so many people looking to buy pieces of Kobe's memorabilia. One of his championship rings, I don't know if you guys saw, but recently sold for close to $1 million on auction. So there's just so much collectability around Kobe's memorabilia and specifically autographs. Of course, his autographs are going to be super, super coveted, in my opinion, in the long term. And there's such limited supply at this point because he obviously won't be signing again. So there's a capped supply, which of course, using supply and demand, if you have a capped supply and over time, cards continue to get into hands of collectors. So over time, the supply continues to go down. What I call the ongoing supply is the supply at the moment that's out on the market. So the ongoing supply continues to go down, and I believe the demand long term is going to be tremendous. So if you just look at basic supply and demand economics, you can see that I truly believe in the long term, Kobe's autograph market's going to severely increase in price, just because of how many people want his cards and how many new buyers who are buying his cards, even people I sell to, who are just holding it for the long term and aren't really thinking about it as an investment, but more so as a collecting item that they're not going to want to sell. And so as they get into more and more of those hands, you're going to see supply continue to dry up. Supply has already dried up a lot over this last year, in terms of the ongoing supply of Kobe autos on the market. And I just think, demand in the long term is going to be hot and prices are going to severely benefit. I would recommend Prism, Optic, of course, Flawless, National Treasures. If you're into the higher end stuff, those are the 4 that I would really target. But without further ado, we're going to hop right into the next guy on our list, and that is going to be none other than Stephen Curry. Now, Steph Curry, one of the main reasons I really love his cards as an investment for the long term is the extremely limited supply in 2009. So his cards are not very highly produced. They're, in fact, very limited. His base Topps Chrome is out of 999, and they are a very tough grade. So the higher grades, you're not going to see much of them ever pop up. And overall, in general, I think his cards are at a very, very healthy spot. He's one of the most collectible players in the whole market, across all sports. And I think for the long term, he's just going to be an absolute legend. He's already got 4 rings, already one of the best point guards of all time, the best shooter of all time by far, one of the most captivating, fun players to watch. So I just think in the long term, the demand's going to be super, super hot, and the supply is just going to be extremely low. A lot of these are in the hands of collectors, and overall, the supply is very, very low given 2009, cards were not printed very much like they are now. There's only really his investable options are mainly like his tops, his Bowman, and his upper deck. And that too, they're all produced pretty limitedly. So I think overall the demand's going to really outpace supply for the long term. So I definitely recommend Steph as an investment. Now, next up, we're going to go with Carmelo Anthony. I know this may be a little bit of a surprise, but first and foremost, 2003 Topps Chrome, led by LeBron, is going to be one of the most iconic sets in the sports card market for the long term, in my personal opinion. And Carmelo's the third best rookie, and I think right now, because he recently retired and he hasn't quite made the Hall of Fame yet, it's kind of that weird window where people don't know where he really stands at the long term. So his prices are really suffered right now. You can get a lot of his main rookie cards for under $100. Great grades as well. So I just think overall right now it's a great time to be buying into his higher end cards for very low prices. And I just think in the long term, he makes the Hall of Fame. He's going to be one of the top players in one of the most iconic sports card sets, one of the greatest scorers of all time. He's got a really great fan base in New York City that really cherishes his moments there and really, collects his cards. So I just think overall his cards are in a great spot for the long term. Now, next up, we're going to go with another player from that draft class, and that is going to be Dwayne Wade. Wade is loved in Miami, has a super strong collector's base. Of course, he's the number 2 player in LeBron's iconic, 2003 Topps set. So 2003 Topps will always have a very strong, collectability, and a lot of people trying to complete the set because LeBron's. So there's just a lot of demand that's going to always be around 2003 Topps, in my opinion, and Wade's the second best rookie. He's tied to LeBron's, won multiple championships, great collector's base in Miami, and I just think overall his cards are going to do very well. Supply is going to, not be able to keep up with demand for the long term, in my opinion. So that is why I'm personally believe Dwayne Wade is a great investment for the long term. Now, next up, we're going to go with Allen Iverson from 1996. So this is another set that I think is going to be one of the most iconic in the long term because of Kobe Bryant and him leading 1996 Topps and Topps Chrome. And Iverson's one of the most collectible players, got such a strong fan base, and his cards have really started to slow down in terms of supply on the market, especially for his Topps Chromes. It's very tough to find them without greening, and because Iverson's such a collectible player, if you go after some of his cards that are not greening for his Topps Chrome, meaning, the color is like the original, I think overall for the long term you're going to do extremely well because you have so many collectors wanting these cards. Of course, a lot of people trying to complete 1996 sets, a lot of people looking at 1996 because of Kobe Bryant, and then you have Iverson, one of the best rookies from that year, totally moved a generation. And I think overall his cards are at a point where I think for the next 20 years, his generation's really going to continue to make a lot more money and buy his cards straight for collecting aspect. So I think his cards are in a great spot, really cheap. You can get a lot of his premier rookie cards for $20-$30. And I just think for the long term that demand's going to far outpace supply. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, drop a like, subscribe if you are new. We're on our way to 50,000 subscribers. Other than that, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'm out. Peace.